Lift your lid. Welcome to Swifttalk with Sherry Swift, helping you experience explosive growth, moving from where you are to where you want to be. Say no to mediocrity and yes to the life you want and deserve. Here is your host, best-selling author, performance coach, and speaker, Sherry Swift.
Welcome to Swifttalk with Sherry Swift. I am your host, Sherry Swift. Listen, I want to jump right in today with our guests because we have so very much to discuss and we need all the time available to us this time for this very, very important conversation. I'd like to welcome to the call Ryan Birdman Parrott. Ryan is the author of the book, Sons of the Flag. He's a former Navy SEAL, an extreme sports athlete, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, a loving father, and an amazing husband. And I am so super proud to say a former coaching client of mine. Welcome to Swifttalk, Ryan.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
I am so excited that you're here today and excited about this conversation that we're going to have. So how about we jump right in? How about we start with you telling me why people call you Birdman? Let's get that out the way.
All right, great story. So, a native of Detroit, Michigan, and enlisted in the military with hopes of becoming a Navy SEAL. And God blessed me the opportunity to get through the program and actually call myself one. And on my first deployment, we were driving down the road coming back from a mission, and our vehicle was struck by an IED, which is an improvised explosive device. And needless to say, it went really bad. And I was in the turret gun, which is the top ball turret that holds the gun. And it shot me straight out into the sky, or what we so call the sky. So because I went flying, they gave me the nickname in the military, the Birdman. So pretty cool stuff. And it was actually good. We make the joke all the time that it's really funny. There's two new guys in our platoon, so I was nicknamed Soup, and the other guy was nicknamed Sandwich. So we were Soup Sandwich. So to be upgraded to the Birdman, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's a great upgrade. Okay, that's good stuff. Tell me about Sons of the Flag. Let's just jump right in because I want you to tell me about Sons of the Flag, who you support, who you help, who you advocate on the behalf of.
I love talking about this topic. So getting out of the service, I served 8 years in the military and very blessed to have done all those years in defense of our country and our freedom. And getting out of the service, moving to Dallas, Texas, I really had a void in my life as to where I was going to move to. You know, what was my next step? What am I going to do? What am I going to be passionate about? What's my spark is what I always say. And, you know, I chased after one dream, chased after another dream, but really the spark just comes to you. It's not something you chase to get. And I met a former Army Ranger who was severely burned in the war, and talking with him about his injuries, it led me to look into it deeper to find out that burn care in the United States of America is lacking. And it's not because the doctors aren't trying, it's because there are not enough doctors that are working on this. There's not enough excitement around this injury to want to forward the process or research. And so looking into it deeper and not finding anything for him, I said, you know what, I'm going to get together with a couple guys, or we call a couple Bubbas out here in Dallas, Texas, and we're going to start something to help burn survivors. So we got together and said, we're going to call it Sons of the Flag, which is a unique poem written in World War I based off the Civil War, talking about the North and the South fighting against each other. But at the end of it all, under God and the American flag, coming together as one, the United States of America. And I love that poem because that's what we're doing here. We're connecting doctors, key physicians with burn patients to get them the absolute address or the need or the fix that they need to carry on with their life and live the best they can. So we started Sons of the Flag in 2012. So we're just 5 years old, and we're covering down on 20 states in the United States right now, which is mind-blowing to me because I literally started this organization for one person. And had I been the only one working at Sons of the Flag 5 years later, we've probably still been working on one person. But ultimately, I surrounded myself with experts, people that are so much stronger in business, people that have so much more of a background in philanthropy, who came in to really help bring this to a limelight, to show people that we're here, we care, and that we actually can bring results.
So who are you actually working with? I read in your information that it's veterans and first responders. Is that correct?
That's correct. Our mission statement is to support veterans, first responders, and their families through a burn injury. So we're essentially working towards veterans and first responders to help them recover through the injury they would have sustained while on the job serving our country.
Okay. Walk me through how this process works, Ryan. So how do they get connected to you? There's got to be thousands and thousands of people who would be qualified and be a candidate to be a client of yours. And so how do people connect with you, and how do you identify who is fortunate enough to be connected and to receive tithings and support from your group?
Well, it's unique. When we started, it was word of mouth. We're just veteran to veteran, first responder to first responder. But then it grew over time as we got more official and got more professional to going out and doing PR pushes. I mean, we're not huge. We're not extraordinarily huge. So we really work hard on the grassroots level. And that's why we have key representatives in these 20 states, so that we have boots on the ground locally to be able to say, I'm here. I'm an ambassador for Sons of the Flag, or what we call a task force leader. What can I help you with? And then their word of mouth gets out there. So it's really free marketing for them to be on the team as a volunteer, for them to bring our clients, if you will, or our patients to us. But we work on both sides. We work with the patients and their families, but we also work with the doctors too, to understand what is latest and greatest and how we can get them in the program. And so ultimately, our program is called Mission Reconstruct Freedom. And essentially, it's a unique program where we've selected some of the finest reconstructive surgeons, burn surgeons, to be able to look at this patient, identify the needs, and then actually carry out the plan of attack so that they can live a very qualified, dignified life after injury. So if there's a candidate that's a veteran, a first responder, even an active duty, send them to sonsoftheflag.org. They can go online to our website, fill out an application, request for help, and then we'll get the process started. It's actually pretty simple.
It does sound like it's very simple. So I don't even know if you have a count, but how many heroes have you impacted to this point?
Well, I'll tell you, in the last 5 years, between veterans, first responders, their families, and even civilians, we've helped well over 1,000 people. We do things from the Mission Reconstruct Freedom, which is a one person at a time injury job, to the things like funding pediatric burn camps, which hold anywhere from 60 to 100 kids at a time, to be able to give them a little bit of love during that camp where they know they can be around other burn survivors. There's no bullying, there's no judging. It's just being a kid again and being proud that they have their wounds along with their friends to learn and overcome those challenges.
That's fantastic. How is this funded?
That would be where my job comes in. So I spend a lot of my time teaching our donors what we're up to these days, and really either invigorating people to get excited about what we do and get excited about burn care needs to step its game up, and we're helping pioneer that. And then two, tell existing clients or donors what we've been up to and how their money's actually helped. And so I've spent a lot of time working with donors to continue funding this. And we get donors on the private side, very, very nice people who have a philanthropy background or just are interested in supporting causes that support our what we call freedom fighters, to our corporate sponsors who come in for events or just overall arching awareness to help us get this mission forwarded. So we've been very blessed, and our funding used to come solely from Dallas, Texas, and now it's spread out around the country. So we've been very blessed. I'd love to say that I've met every donor that we have face to face. Certainly haven't done that, but I'm very grateful for every dollar that comes in because this helps push the mission forward.
Absolutely. It's easy for me in my mind and with my vision, my limited vision, because I've not been there, Ryan. I mean, no one can process this without physically being in an environment like this. But what I will tell you, and I don't even think you and I have had an opportunity to talk about this, but I think I mentioned to you that my son was interested in becoming a firefighter. We talked about this some time ago when we were coaching. Do you recall?
I do, absolutely.
So guess where my son is right now as we speak?
Oh, is he in the academy?
My son right now is in Georgia in boot camp.
You're kidding me.
I am not kidding you. He is taking the route, dude. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. We couldn't be more excited. We couldn't be more proud. And guess what? More interested, right? It's always important because we understand the relevance, the importance. We have the admiration for our first responders and for the people that protect our freedom. And then it becomes even more relevant and even more important when you have someone close to you that is directly impacted immediately, like by this, right? This could be something that you would need one day, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'd first say that, you should be so proud. That's an incredible, incredible feat that he's up against, and he's going to make it, and he's going to do great things, and all in the name of protecting our country. So that's just a beautiful thing, and it makes me excited because we, as being a former soldier, we continually want great people to go into the military to support us, great people to serve our country near and far. And it warms our heart when we see this next generation come in and continue that mission.
We're very proud of him. So when you ask someone who's capable of supporting this very important mission, what's the pushback or the misunderstanding or the misconception that people have around it?
Well, I'll tell you, in the normal misconception about Sons of the Flag is we've done incredibly well of getting our name out there. We have an incredible logo. I mean, you cannot go wrong with the American flag, period, end of story. And the Sons of the Flag name, I guess that's one of the misconceptions, is that Sons of the Flag would look to people like we are just a bunch of guys, and that's not even close to being the truth. So there's that. We are a mixture of everybody. Number two, Sons of the Flag, it's called Sons of the Flag, the resource for burn survivors. But if you read Sons of the Flag, that doesn't tell you that we're a foundation or an organization for burn survivors. So there's that. And third, we don't have a multi-million-dollar marketing budget to get our name out there across the country as much as we'd want to let people know that we're here. And so that's one of our harder challenges, is that there are burn survivors to the tune of what I think the American Burn Association had put out. 480-some thousand people get burned in this country every year. And we're not big enough of an organization to cover down on that number. But if we were financially, we still wouldn't be out there. We don't have enough awareness out there to help everybody. They don't know we exist. And so if somebody's struggling in Wisconsin and they don't know that Sons of the Flag exists, well, then we can't get to them and help them out. So it is our job to get out there, beat the pavement as grassroots level as we can, and just keep spreading the word that Sons of the Flag exists. And our deal is to have excellence in outcomes for these patients to live a good, qualified, dignified life. So that's a big misconception. And then two, like I said, it's just, there are so many charities out there these days that, there's a lot of great charities out there. And so people really have to think about where they place their dollars. And so it really has to appeal to them, or really, really dig into their heart to really want to step away from other charities they support to come support ours. And so we know that. But the deal is we just keep doing great work. We keep supporting people who critically need our help, and the Lord takes over. And so that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. Give me one example of one person that their life has been, just like explosively impacted by the work that you do. I bet you have a story on hand that you think, this is my favorite story.
Yes, we do. And that's the unique thing about us, is we don't push out stories most of the time. It's up to the person who we've actually worked with to say, I'd like to be an ambassador for you and tell my story publicly. But we don't typically ask for that. Unless it's a friend of mine who I say, okay, buddy, you have no choice in this matter. You're getting in front of the stage. You're gonna go do some speaking, and you're going to do it because we're brothers. It's just the way it is. Right. But ultimately, we don't want to put people in the limelight if they don't want to be in the limelight. Our job is to help them and get them back to a life that they want. So that's our job. One particular story is of a man named Omar Avila, who is an ambassador for Sons of the Flag. He's a very close friend of mine. We call him brothers in the military. He was in the Army, and he was blown up by an IED on his, I believe, second deployment. And it was in Iraq, and he was burned over 70% of his body. Now, I didn't meet Omar after his injury, not for years after his injury, but he spent a lot of time in the burn unit. And when I finally met him, his burns, even though they still showed and they still had many complexities, were healed. They weren't open wounds anymore. And so I got to meet with him, and first thing he says is, hey, how can I help? And I was like, well, guys, here's the story. We're not going to put anybody out in the public to say that you're an ambassador for the organization. If we haven't helped you, we want to prove to you first that we can do what we say we do. And then from there we can talk. So he says, well, I could use a set of weights. I laughed because that's not what we really do. We don't issue out gym equipment to patients. We're more for, the physical attributes, trying to help them with the reconstructive surgeries, getting them the personal attention they need. But ultimately, you know what, I looked back and I said, hey, if the patient's telling us this is what they need to get back into the fight, well, then let's do it. Let's just support them. And he asked for 800 pounds of weights, which was mind-boggling to me because I don't think I've ever been around 800 pounds of weights. I mean, I certainly couldn't lift 800 pounds. But anyway, he's a big guy. So we got him a set of weights. And he goes, hey, I promise you that I'm going to use these. And he did. He kept his promise, and he used them. Now, he is 70% burned on his body. He is an amputee. He's below the knee amputee on one leg. And he became the world champion for Paralympics deadlift and bench press because he got back in the gym and he worked out. And he feels like when he is in the gym working out that he doesn't have his wounds anymore. He can be himself again. And so that is a huge win. Now what's exciting about it is Omar is getting ready to go through our Mission Reconstruct Freedom program because he needs surgery. So I'm very excited all around for this new program. And that's what I didn't even tell everybody, that this Mission Reconstruct Freedom program is our pinnacle program, and it is brand new. We've been beta testing it this year for an unveiling of next year. So you're one of the first to hear about it. It's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll unveil it to the nation next year, veterans and first responders, to which we will send one of them plus their family member to go through this and then continue on the course with other patients. So all very good stuff.
Amazing stuff here. Here's what I love, and I've got to take 2 minutes to say this. I could sit and listen to you talk about this for hours, but I've got to take a break and say, here's what I love. I love that you said to me, Sherry, we're not really all about telling their story and pushing or promoting our product by pushing out their story, because truly what we want is we want to provide them with a very average, normal quality of life. And we want to allow them an opportunity to blend again.
Amen to that. Exactly.
Exactly.
That's the last thing that I'd want to do after going through a horrific surgery and an injury, is to get out there and have to share my story. We want to make sure that we get them back to a quality of life they deem fit. And then if they choose to want to join us and work forward to help others and empower others, well, that's a win. Either way, it's a win, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm overwhelmed and extremely impressed with the fact that this is very quiet work that you're doing. And what's so sensitive here is that it's quiet work that has to find a rhythm, and there has to be some form of noise connected to it so that people know about the importance behind the work and how to contribute to it. But we don't get to put people on a platform because the end result is supposed to be quiet and healing and recovery, right?
That's right. I tell you, a good one is when I started this organization, I said to myself, a big win personally for me would be obviously to get this thing going and continue the mission. But a small win for me would be to see 3 different people in one day wearing the Sons of the Flag shirt that I don't know anything about. That would be a big win for me, and every year I've seen it.
I love that. So tell me about how I'm an everyday person. I'm a civilian, and I'm listening to this podcast right now, and this is moving me, and I want to know how to get involved. How do I get involved and impact your work at this point?
If anybody wants to get involved with Sons of the Flag, you can go directly to our website and send an email on the contact page and ask to be a volunteer. And we have multiple ways that people can help. We do things from sending go bags around the country. A go bag is essentially a bag that's a duffel bag filled with about 48 hours worth of toiletries and stuff that families would need while they arrive at the hospital. Typically, when you go to a hospital and there's critical care needed, the patient arrives with a family member and they really have the skin, the shirt and the skin on their back. and nothing else. And so we provide them with things that they can have to wash themselves, write notes down, have blankets for 48 hours until they get reinforcements. And we deploy these around the country. And so we have a lot of volunteers that put these things together, go out to ask different corporations to put soaps, toiletries, notepads, cards, writing utensils, everything together, and then fashion them in Ziploc bags that go in duffel bags that we present to the burn units. And we know how many people are going to the burn units based off how many bags continue to go out the door. So there's one way right there. And then there's pediatric burn camps around the nation that people can get involved with to give back and help a day out of their life to go support somebody. And this is the whole overarching thing that I always say to reinforce why it's so important what we do is when you go tomorrow morning and you wake up and you go and you wash your face off and you look in the mirror and you take a snapshot of your face and you get everything on your face detailed, hair, if you're a man, you have a beard, whatever it is, you get everything to where you look professional to leave the house to go do your daily activities. Now, boom, a catastrophic injury happens and that is gone. Your identity is taken from you in a moment's notice to which it will never return back to normal. And then you have to go look in the mirror every single day for the rest of your life at somebody new. And then you have to overcome that. And you have to be strong and realize that you can live a normal life and a successful life with an injury. And so what we try to promote is that is what we're dealing with, what these patients are dealing with, and why we're trying so hard to help them get back to a normalcy. And then empower them to know that they're special and they've overcome more than most of us will ever. So we certainly need to get in and get our butts to gear.
Wow, this is inside out work, Ryan. I mean, at the end of the day, we can do what we can to impact the external, but what we're really working to do is impact the internal, making sure that everyone understands that you are okay right where you are.
That's right. That's absolutely right. I mean, I don't ever get political. I focus solely on my charity stuff because that makes me whole, and that's where I can really make the best bang in this country. But the thing is, our injury, it wears no political side. It wears no face. It doesn't have a differentiator. It is the same across the board. And so our fine-tuned job, our mission is solely to support burn survivors, and that's exactly what we're attacking. And we're doing a darn good job at doing it.
Is there psychiatric support that your sponsorship supports as well?
So it's an interesting question. We believe that we can do certain things really well, but we can't cover down on everything. And we are not a big enough organization to have all those departments here. But we wouldn't start them anyway because there are wonderful charities that do specific things, mental health and substance abuse to amputation and rehabilitation, service dogs. There's multiple charities out in this country that support the other side of the injury. And so what we like to do is partner. You see, my theory in charity work is there's three parts to the charity that make you whole. You've got your funding, you've got your awareness, and you've got your partnerships. And so why wouldn't we go out and partner and team up with these extraordinary organizations that have their mission specific and then say, okay, we've got the burn covered, you've got the mental side covered, you've got the amputation side covered. Let's do this as a team, be well-rounded, and then know when the patient comes in the door, they can go every which way and know that the fix is right there waiting for them, or at least there's somebody to actually help them with the next steps. So that's my theory, and that's exactly what we do.
Perfect, because the partnerships are important, and you're right. We focus on our wheelhouse, right? And partnerships are what make it work, what makes it spin correctly. So that's amazing. Tell me, where would we go to find your book? And tell me a little bit about your book, Sons of the Flag.
Absolutely. So you can go to Amazon to order the book. There's hard, soft copy, and electronic. It's called Sons of the Flag, The Last 100 Years of American Service. And so my theory was, I see all these books coming out all the time, and I don't do a whole lot of reading these days other than reading stuff in burns and reading emails particularly. Mm-hmm. But when I read some books, I realize that there's a lot of what in books. There's a whole lot of what. And I mean by that, if I am a professional athlete, I'm talking about my experiences as an athlete doing the steps. If I'm a special forces operator, I'm talking about my training. But we seem to always miss that fine-tuned message, which is why. Why do we do this? Why does any person go through such horrific stuff to get to the end result? And then what is that end result? So I wanted to write a book on why we do what we do as veterans, as Americans. And when I wrote my story, I felt embarrassed that I was answering this question for everybody who had served in the military, past, present, and then the future. And so instead of me putting out a why that maybe some would not agree with, I recruited a soldier from every war, from World War II to present day, every single war that we have been in from World War II to present day. And I asked them their why. And so that's what the book is. It's in chronological order, starting with present day and going all the way back to World War II. That soldier tells their story on why they served the United States of America. And I love it because you'll find some really interesting notes in there. You'll see a lot of the same stuff, which means that it doesn't change and our values are strong. And at the end of the book, there's a really cool thing that we all team up to do. So if you want to know more about it, go pick up a copy at Amazon.
I love that. Okay. All right. Perfect. I think we should maybe give one away. What do you think?
I'm in. I can definitely do that.
Yeah. So if we have someone that would write in to Swifttalk at sherryswift.com and tell us why this book in less than 100 words might impact your thinking, impact your being, Ryan would love to give this book, this signed copy away. What do you say, Ryan?
I am in. I am ready to go. Got the book on my desk right now with your name written all over it. So
all right, perfect.
Bring it on.
One more quick question for you. So tell me about the extreme sports. And I know the answer to this, but I feel like everybody else needs to know. What is it that you do that would be counted as an extreme sport? Talk about that a little bit.
You know, it all started at a younger age. Not super young, no. In fact, I was actually the opposite when I was very young. I used to watch my mom go ride on roller coasters, and I used to cry and say, "Don't do that. You're never going to come back." And I was terrified of things that were extreme. But ultimately, it was a chief of mine in the military who basically said, never underestimate the power of trying. And so I look at that and I was like, well, I'm going to try just about everything that there is on this earth to try. Every kind of adventure I can go on, I'm interested because I want to see what limitations are out there and I want to see what it takes to push through those. And I just want to know what the end result of that is. You know, why does a person base jump off of a cliff? It's scary and it's death defying and people do die doing it. So why do they do that? There is something there that I don't know, but they do. And I want to know that. Why does somebody go run 100 miles in 24 hours? Well, there's a lot of people that do that, but I don't know that. So I want to try it. So my idea behind it was I love extreme sports because you never go to a place that's ugly to do an extreme sport. They're usually in horrible places like Switzerland and Norway and Europe and
right.
Moab, Utah, just terrible looking places. Now they're beautiful.
Yeah.
You meet incredible people who always want to push the human limit and the spirit. And you get to challenge yourself and then you get to find out exactly what you are seeking. What's
your most recent adventure, Ryan? What's the last one?
The last adventure I went on? Oh, let's see. You know, there's been quite a few in the last couple, in the last year. Well, I'd say our last one we went to was Switzerland where we did base jumping off of multiple different cliffs to include the Eiger, which is a very prominent mountain of the three mountains in the Swiss Valley. And, I was really nervous about doing that one because it's so big and it's kind of the crown jewel out there. But ultimately, I had to know what it was like. So I did it and it was successful. But the whole idea of this is I could do these extreme sports for fun, or I could do them with the twist. You see, if I asked every athlete in the world to do everything they do in their life to the tune of charity, you play football, you get $1 million contract, and you cut 20% off that to go to charity, non-negotiable. You go and get a sponsorship deal outside of that, you cut 20% off that, and you give it to charity. Well, that's essentially what I wanted to do. I wanted to do every extreme thing I could, but I wanted to do it to raise the awareness of the charity we support. And so that's why I do these extreme sports, is to get these viral things going out there, but all in the name of charity. I could care less if people know who Ryan Parrott is. I really don't care. In fact, I don't even want that life. I know a few real popular people who, they basically have to hide their faces under ball caps and they're always signing autographs, and they're just a slave to their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never want that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want our charity to be as popular as it can be. I want everybody in the world to know about it. So if I can go out and do something that's extreme and then make this viral video and then turn it all into Sons of the Flag and generate revenue and awareness to help our freedom fighters, well, then we're going to go do it. And that right there is the why.
I love it. Thank you so much, Ryan, for being our guest today, for being such a wonderful human being, and for leading this charge with such passion and purpose. I am so proud of you.
Well, I can't thank you enough. And I can't thank you enough for all the help. You know, when we had first talked, there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of raindrops falling, and there was no raincoat. So you've been a huge support system to me. And, you know, through your efforts, I've been able to manage my life and grow my life, both in business and personal. So I can't thank you enough.
No, I'm just so grateful to have been any part of this amazing being and becoming. So I'm so grateful for that. So just what is the best way for my listeners to find you? What's the fastest way? And I'm going to have the connections on the podcast notes, but I want to make sure right now that I give you an opportunity to say what's the best way to find you.
Absolutely. Simple web page. My last name is spelled with 2 R's, 2 T's, Parrott with 2 R's, 2 T's. So it's RyanBirdmanParrott.com. To get in touch, we'll respond very quickly to you. And, you know, if you're interested in joining the force of the organization, we're lucky to have you. If you're interested in me coming to give a speech, that's what I'm doing a lot of these days, getting out there and using my voice to inspire others to get involved in something greater than themselves. Or if you just want to talk, I'm here. So
Ryan's a lot of fun to listen to. So if you are looking for someone explosive on a platform, I would encourage that you reach. To our listeners, I am so grateful that you are here with me on this journey. And I want to invite you to connect with me on Instagram at Swifttalk for upcoming episodes and series. Visit me on my website at www.sherryswift.com to read my blog on this episode focused on Sons of the Flag and to receive a recap of this episode. And then let's be friends on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook at Swift Transitions. Don't forget, please write to me at swifttalk@sherryswift.com and tell me in 100 words or less what you thought about this episode and why you would love to have an autographed copy of Ryan's book sent directly to you. We can't wait to get this to you. And then let us know if it's okay for us to share your letter, because, you know, the more people that know, the louder we beat this drum, the more people that listen and the greater the audience. Comment wherever you're listening and tell a friend, because my goal is explosive connections in order to be a life-impacting resource for many. Bring somebody along. Life is simply delicious, my friends. Let's enjoy a great big slice of it together. Till next time.
You've been listening to Swift Talk with Sherry Swift. If you would like to schedule time with Sherry, download the show notes and much, much more. Find it all at www.sherryswift.com.